Hello, welcome to Sproutlogic Gardening. My name's Mike. Today we're going to talk about cold stratification. So what exactly is cold stratification? Think of it as a cheat code that nature evolved to create in order to make sure that plants actually sprout at the proper times. So a lot of things like wildflowers, for example, what they'll do is they'll create seeds during the fall, they'll land on the ground. Now it needs to figure out when exactly is the best time to start sprouting. Because sometimes in springs, where I'm at, like in zone 7B/8A, we get days like today. It's winter. Today is January 4th, but it's going to be 57 degrees. So that could easily trick a lot of plants into thinking, oh, it's time to grow. What cold stratification does is make sure that when the seeds are on the ground, it'll wait until there's a string or a long period of warmer weather. So that could be things such as, in my area, that's going to probably be like March, April, probably closer to April when that would happen. So it's a way to prevent the plant from sprouting too early and then losing the seedlings. So this could be difficult to work with when it comes to gardening. So there are plenty of plants that we work with that require cold stratification, and there's really two methods to pull it off. So the first one is artificial cold stratification. So what you would typically do, depending on the seed, and this is where your research is going to be key in doing this, is you would take your seed, place it in a Ziploc bag, typically wrap it in a damp paper towel. Now this is important, it's got to be damp, not soaking wet. If the seed is soaking wet, most likely it'll rot or it'll sprout, which we don't want to have that happen. And you'll place it in the fridge or freezer. Typically, on average, it could be about a month before you're going to plant it. This tricks the seed into thinking that it's going through winter. When you take it out and plant it, keep in mind you want to plant it when it's warmer, of course. This will trigger the response to grow the seed. So that's the artificial process. The next process we're going to talk about is actually the natural process, in which I'm going to actually demonstrate planting a flower for you to show you that. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. Okay, so for today, we're going to be planting a flower called Lupine. But you'll notice I have a little helper with me, my daughter Nora. Say hello, Nora.
Hi.
So Lupine is an interesting flower. It does require cold stratification. Now, as I said, today is January 4th. So I messed up. This probably should have been started where I'm at in my area, probably late November. So it has about a 60% chance of sprouting. So we have our raised bed here. And what we're going to do with this one in particular needs a lot of space. We're going to plant 2 seeds in one spot, and then we're going to watch during the spring. Now, what's really important about lupine is you cannot transplant seedlings. It has to be sowed directly into the soil, and it can't be moved. So what we don't want to do is think we're going to take the second seedling and we're going to simply just move it to another hole. That's not going to work. What we'll have to do, in fact, is whichever one's the strongest we'll keep. The other one we're going to snip at the base and let it naturally die off. I hate doing it myself, but it's just simply the best way to garden when it comes to this stuff. All right, Nora, so help me out here. So we're going to poke a little hole in the ground right there. Yep. Oh, a little deeper. That's good. And we're going to put both these seeds carefully into that hole right there. Oop, you dropped them right there. We're going to pick them up. That's okay. Put them there. Grab this one here. Here, I'll get you this one. Hold it in your fingers, little fingertips. Drop it right there. And then we're going to cover it up. Perfect. Now, if all goes well, this should hopefully sprout probably sometime March or April. And again, I'm going to keep an eye. If both come up, I'm going to trim down the weakest one to make sure the strongest one grows. Overcrowding is super important when it comes to this flower. It likes a lot of space, about 12 to 18 inches. And you'll notice right here, I have another flower right up against it. This is plenty of room though. It's about 12 inches. That will give it protection and space to grow properly. And of course, the seeds I'm using, Eden Brothers, I mentioned this in my last video. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but I have great experience with them. They always seem to germinate pretty much, I'd say 90% of the time plus, and they really have amazing flowers to grow. I hope this helps. And as always,
Make sure to subscribe to my daddy's channel. Bye.
Bye.